Listen up. We've all been there. It's 3 p.m. You're stuck in another mind-numbing meeting, and your eyelids are drooping more than you want to admit. You think about grabbing another cup of coffee, but you know it's just going to make you jittery, and you're going to have a crash later on. That, guys, is where mud water comes in. It's like coffee's laid-back cousin, packed with the good stuff. Chai, cacao, lion's mane, chaga, reishi, cordyceps, turmeric, cinnamon, the works. All the energy, none of the shakes. With mud water, you are going to feel focused, energized, and ready for whatever the day throws at you. No crashes, no jitters, and guys, it is totally organic. Non-GMO, vegan, kosher, gluten-free, you name it. I'm talking no sugars, no sweeteners, just that raw, earthy kick that you need. Plus, it won't keep you wired when it's time to wind down. And I've even gotten to the best part. Guys, this is incredibly easy to make. Scoop, stir, drink. You're back in the game. Head over to mudwater.com, grab a starter kit, use the code Chael. That'll save you over 40% and free shipping. Plus, we're going to throw in a rechargeable frother. That's right, over 40% off at mudwater.com. Just use the code Chael. And when they ask, tell them you heard it from the bad guy. Stay sharp, stay steady, and dominate your day with Mudwater. How does Chimaev beat Dricus? How does Chimaev beat Sean Strickland? How does Strickland beat Chimaev? How does Strickland beat Dricus? It's an interesting place that we have found ourselves. Like, I believe in the entertainment side of sport, of this sport. I believe that guys, through entertainment and through crowd engagement and crowd reaction, whether that's social media or the live house, but if they can get the crowd to react to their ideas, they are more likely to get those ideas to turn into opportunities. And I like when it happens. It bothers me when it doesn't happen. But there is another side. And the other side of the sport is, while we're entertaining, don't ever forget we have a sport. We have an integrity to the rankings. We have an integrity to uphold about putting the best guy against the best guy. Whoever wears that belt and whoever is the world champion should be able to beat anybody else in the world. And I get that there's always guys that can beat him too. It's why we go out there and try. It's why we have the contest instead of just mailing the award. But he better be able to. It had better not be a mismatch clearly somewhere within the bracket and they just haven't met up. So I'm having just a little bit of frustration with my audience, with the idea that Strickland Du Plessis should not be next, that Chimaev should be able to step in. And I'm just scratching my head on that a little bit because I see a greatness from Chimaev, and I also see one of the most dominant and impressive contendership matches we've seen. Like Rob Whittaker and his body of work, for anybody to be able to get rid of him, do damage to him, actually do damage, is a very incredible thing. But if we were to back up 3 months prior, if we were to back up 5 months prior, if we were to back up 8 months prior, you hadn't seen anything because you hadn't even seen Chimaev compete. It's been a meaningful period of time. And Joel, the Godfather, thinks he's got the yips. The yips is an expression I believe Kramer brought us in an episode of Seinfeld, but it's talking about a golfer that when the moment is big, he gets the yips, he gets nervous. I don't know that I think that is true. I think Chimaev has had some pretty bad luck health-wise. I think when COVID came and he got stuck in a hospital, not only thinking that his career was over, but that his life was over, and he was on a respirator for multiple weeks, and he had to lose a fight with Leon Edwards. I don't know. I don't think that it's completely wise that we come out and we start to hold these things against him, but he has had to pull out of a couple of fights. So we finally get him in there with Whittaker, and it was a great fight, and it was a big fight. It was not a main event. It was still the number 13 ranked guy versus the number 3 guy. And as impressive as it was, I'm just asking if we're going to look at a body of work and go, okay, we got to identify him. He's undefeated. He's the one. He's the wolf. He's ran through everybody. Give him the title shot. Give him the title shot and give him everything else that he could ever possibly want. And if you were to juxtapose that against guys like being undefeated is really impressive, being a world champion is more impressive. Sean Strickland is not undefeated. Sean Strickland was a world champion. Going out there and getting Robert Whittaker to surrender, doing damage to Robert Whittaker through a submission hold of all things. You did more to his jaw, his mouth, and his teeth than good boxers, good strikers did anywhere else on the card by hitting the guy, and he did it through submission. Like, believe me, I'm sold on how great that was. But let's just not forget that since October of last year, those minutes and moments that you saw Chimaev in there with Whittaker were the only minutes and moments Chimaev has even had. I think that matters. I do think that matters. And I want to look at it, though. And I want to be real fair here, all right? Now, let's just, and we got to use history. We make a claim. We've got to back it up with something that we've seen with our own eyes. How does Chimaev beat Dricus Du Plessis? If you were to use history, meaning skills and techniques that you've seen Chimaev possess and able to employ in battle, then you have to say that he's going to take Du Plessis down and he's going to beat him up when he gets there. Now, that's fine because you've seen Chimaev do that, but if I was to juxtapose that, who have you seen take Du Plessis down? And one thing that Chimaev can do so well is he can get the guy tired. So many people question Chimaev's cardio. I don't think that that's fair. I don't think it's a matter that he doesn't have enough cardio. I think the difference is Chimaev has the courage to use that cardio. He will take all that energy and he will put it right here. And if you're still standing, then he's going to have to take whatever he's got left and he's going to have to do his best to do that again. And even if those diminish round after round, he's still using 100% of whatever he has. And if you've competed and done this before, you'll understand when I say that takes a real courage. So if we come to the conclusion that Chimaev can just take Du Plessis down and score points or whatever that might be, hold him there, gain favor with the judges, pound on him in advanced position so much that the referee steps in at a TKO, or maybe he shows him his back or in another means and Chimaev can get Du Plessis to surrender. Have you seen Du Plessis do that to anybody else? And could we agree that Du Plessis would have a very good understanding? Can we agree that the fighter, the principal in the question, in this case our champion, Dricus Du Plessis, would have a very good understanding of who offered him the bigger threat? And could we agree that he would want to uphold his number one job, which is to get the biggest paycheck with the easiest opponent? And could we agree that he is now trying to say that is Chimaev? And then wouldn't we use that as evidence that Dricus, within at least his own mind, doesn't think it is Chimaev? Right? Dricus he's only one of two things, and it's not a coward versus courageous. He's either a smart guy or he's a dum-dum. Those are the two. If he's got an option of Chimaev and Strickland and he does not go after the one that he believes he has the greater likelihood of beating, he goes into the category of a dum-dum. That's not courageous, that's foolish. And Chimaev Strickland also seems like a very fun one. We heard rumors and reports because those guys have felt each other. They've grabbed a hold of each other. They've got a real good idea of if we fought, not only who would win, but what positions would the opponent like to see this match in? What realms would I like to keep this match in? I think that that's one of the more fascinating matchups. I really do. I think that also adds to the importance that we follow the plan. Strickland versus Du Plessis. If Strickland can get over on Dricus, Chimaev draws right into him. If Strickland doesn't beat Du Plessis and Chimaev get together, and then we got to just sit back as fans hoping that we get the day that it's going to be Strickland Chimaev. Like, if you were going to screw with the deck, the one match that we really want to see is not even available with the screw job. Like, to get Chimaev and Strickland together is not even available if we shake the house that we've already agreed to. So how would Chimaev beat Dricus Du Plessis? You have a hard time telling me that he can outcondition him. And he's got great conditioning, but that seems to be Dricus' real strong suit. I got a hard time thinking that Dricus can just get taken down, let alone held there. But perhaps you disagree.